We are live. Welcome to another exciting episode of the IsaacBoyz podcast. Doing the Ghost alongside Terrorizing. Coming at you guys with episode 97.
Yep.
Ep 97.
3 episodes away.
3 episodes away from the most anticipated episode of the podcast, episode 100. Which, still looking for ideas and things to do. Maybe we'll do 100 push-ups or something like that in a vlog or something.
If you guys have any suggestions, definitely
We are open.
hit us up, let us know.
But yeah, episode 100 slowly approaching. It's crazy to think that, when we started this podcast, from where we started to where we are now was, that we would get to this point. But here we are.
Yep.
Maybe I should save the reminiscent for the 100th episode. But
Definitely.
yeah, coming off of yet another good week here at the lounge. We had a massive Saturday event that was pretty good, pretty well attended. We had a lot of new faces in the place. A lot of new folks came through to check out the lounge that were part of the event and not part of the event.
Yep.
So that was kind of fun. We had a ton of cool experiences. We're actually making a lot of good connections when we do get new faces, and in big event atmosphere like that, it's pretty cool because we can connect. You can see who's playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And connect them with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Group. We can see who's who plays Magic, who's into Guilty Gear or different fighting games,
yep.
and it's good. It's everything coming to fruition, like we always talk about. Once we get the foot traffic to come through and people are coming there, people are interacting, people that probably would never meet each other
Are now meeting.
in a normal setting are now meeting here at the lounge, and they're finding common ground and
Socializing and all that.
socializing, and we're bridging the gap. And people that were more introverted, not so social, put them in an environment like this around people that are of like mind and have the same interests. It's a good thing. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Definitely is. I mean, Saturday was just bonkers of a day.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like foot traffic and people meeting other people, and it was just crazy. Like, it was definitely one of our more work-filled, tiring days.
Yeah,
But it was just filled with
but it was worth it though.
it was filled with good energy, filled with a lot of socializing, people meeting different people, and it just shows that we're on the right track. And I think it might be around that time where we start to go back doing our events again. I mean, I know we've mentioned that before, but kind of give me a feel of how those are gonna feel like.
Yeah,
Moving forward.
because whenever we have a well attended event like what we did in the past, we saw a lot of it was always different faces. It was always good interaction and everything. But now the issue was always because we were just renting a space, so people
After that happened, then it was like, okay, what's
that was it, yeah. But now it's because we have the lounge. Those new faces are now gonna have a spot to cool out. And a lot of those guys were saying, yeah, it looks like this is the new hangout spot, which is great. We got a new membership sign up as well, so
New membership.
those are always fun. Everything's just kind of continuing to roll here, which I love, and it's only gonna get better.
A lot of beautiful things on the horizon.
Yep, and exciting things on the horizon, which I guess we could kind of get into a little bit here. About the
Our plans.
Yeah, our plans for world domination.
World of Yu-Gi-Oh! Domination. So, pretty much, this is probably not news to some people. Some people are probably familiar with this kind of stuff already, but just going through different options of, what our next step could be, and, stumble upon some pretty exciting stuff from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Standpoint.
Yeah.
Pretty much because of all the things that we have going on with Yu-Gi-Oh! And where we're located and
Here at the lounge,
all that stuff, we're actually eligible to become what's known as an official tournament store, an OTS. If you're familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, you probably know what that is. And that's pretty big. For those of you that are not so familiar, it's essentially makes us an official partner with Yu-Gi-Oh, and we
Konami?
can Konami, I should say, which is the company that owns Yu-Gi-Oh, and we get exclusive access to merchandise. Like there's booster packs that only OTSs can get. Also, it allows us to do like official tournaments. We can host official tournaments and like have to report back to Konami of results and all that kind of stuff. So there's some work involved as well, but it also allows us to be promoted on the Konami website,
which is seen globally.
And we are literally the only. There's none in St. Thomas, obviously, and like if someone goes and look up OTSs in the vicinity or in the territory, and we're literally going to be the only one there. So that's huge exposure.
100%.
I mean, astronomical. I think if we get through with this is really going to be the next step for the lounge.
Most definitely.
And that's something that we're always looking to do. Like with every success, we're always looking at, all right, what's the next thing? How do we take it a step further? We're never complacent. And this is definitely, in my opinion, the next step. And I look at it as, when I look at all the criteria and all the thing, I was going down the list and just checking off the boxes because I think we hit every one.
There you go.
So I'm like, yeah, this is definitely. I don't see us not getting it, in my opinion. The only thing I think they might like maybe our showcases are small. Maybe we're probably gonna need maybe a bigger showcase, but that's easily remedied. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think we have enough showcase space. We also do have room for growth there as well too. But yeah,
it's just a matter of if we show them what we have, and if we have to empty one of our showcases and say, hey, we're gonna dedicate this showcase entirely to Yu-Gi-Oh, which maybe we should. I mean, we're definitely gonna have to sell some figures to accomplish that, but we definitely have been selling figures. Actually, we've sold a lot of figures.
Sold some figures Saturday as well, and throughout the week actually.
Yeah. So that being said, that would be a huge accomplishment on our part. Puts us in a completely different light.
Makes us more official.
Like the world's gonna know VIVN very soon. Because once people see us, like, hey, and they check us out, and then they could probably link back to our website, and then it's just global exposure to everything that we do.
Yep.
And you'd love to see it. It's definitely our next step. And again, it's one of those things where we're never complacent. So it's like even after we accomplish this, it's always gonna be okay.
What's gonna be the next? What's gonna be that for something else, like maybe like
the
figures or
exactly.
or something in the gaming space, maybe
Yeah.
Maybe we can start becoming like a official Capcom,
Something,
tournament place where where we do our tournaments and get a report back to Capcom and like that kind of thing.
It just kind of opens the door to other opportunities and stuff that we probably never really thought of.
Yeah.
But everything doesn't happen before its time.
This is true.
It's like everything is happening in like, if we never, open the door for like the Magic group to come, then it probably wouldn't open the door for the Yu-Gi-Oh group to come.
There you go.
And that would allow us to start selling Yu-Gi-Oh cards, to start looking into stuff like this. So it's a step-by-step process, and I mean that's just life on a whole. You know what I mean? You always gotta look for how to further yourself, like what's the next step for you, and it's sometimes based on your circumstances, it could seem like there's no next step, but there's always a next step. There's always growth. There's always something you can learn to take things a bit further. There's always a new skill to learn.
Yep.
You don't have all the skills in your bag.
You don't have them now, but you use what you have now, which we've been doing a lot of this week.
And we're going to touch on that as well, yeah.
Being very resourceful and getting things done. You use what you have to then get you to the next step, to then learn the lessons you have to learn, to think that that'll get you to the next step. It's always progression.
Yeah, I mean,
life is definitely progression.
And we, I mean, again, I don't want to seem like we're like, pat ourselves on the back or anything, but we definitely have done that this week. Like out of the blue, we just decided to build, you know, a new showcase or add to our existing showcase. Just a little
Actually, add to our counter space. 'Cause it wasn't a showcase.
Yeah, it wasn't. Added to our counter. Make a little small little showcase. You know, just to better display the Yu-Gi-Oh product and whatnot. And that was even before we thought of the you know. So maybe just that little space might be enough for them to be like, okay, you know. So yeah, we just decided to do that, just kind of on a whim, and it turned out
great.
Very professionally done, just using the knowledge that we have.
And the stuff that we have.
And the stuff that we have.
We didn't even have the proper tools.
We didn't have proper tools. We have just a bunch of stuff that we refuse to throw away. That's like in our
office.
In
like
our office.
A lot of our scrap. We have like a scrap area where, after we build the office, we just had a lot of extra stuff kind of hanging around. So we just kind of put them all in one area just to, because you never know, right? You never know if you're gonna need something or there's something to be used. And turns out a lot of it got used to make that showcase. And as it was happening, we didn't even have like a direct plan per se. But while we're building it, other things are coming. Oh, maybe we can use this for this, and then you can use that for that, and then slowly but surely the thing, started coming to fruition, and it turned out a lot better than I expected.
It honestly did. I thought it was gonna be kind of a little
rinky dink,
gets the job done, But no, it looks like we hired somebody to do it,
and it's lit and everything. Like we, and not figuratively speaking, like we actually have LED strips in there that
and we spliced it from the other LED strip that's in the adjacent showcase. So it was like it just takes a little bit of know-how, and I think it's done properly too. It's not it's not a fire hazard or anything. It's
it's well done.
Our father's an electrician, so we kind of
picked up a couple things.
But yeah, he still hasn't seen. I would like to see him to come in and make sure that look at our electrical work. Is there anything we could have done better here? Like, make sure it's not a fire hazard or anything. I don't think it is. As a matter of fact, I know it's not because we did it the proper way. Maybe I'm sure he's gonna have ideas how to make it look a little neater, but definitely.
I think it was dope.
Yeah,
I think it's dope for our know-how and our expertise. I think it's pretty cool. And it just, like I said, it shows how being resourceful and using what you have, which I think a lot of people in general, just sometimes we look at what other people have and you're like, man, if I had that, I could do this, or if only if I can get this done, then I can get that. But you just gotta use what you have. It's easy to say, yeah, if I had that, but you don't know what they did to get that. You know what I mean? So 100%. Just use what you have to get, like you said, progression to get you to the next phase. To then
get to the next
move on.
phase,
Yeah. Life is all about battle, struggle, move on. You gotta learn from the struggles.
Yeah.
You gotta learn from the battles, and
like an RPG. You gotta get that XP.
Yep. I think we talked about that before. No?
We definitely have.
Previous podcast. But
actually we're on that front as well. We're actually
working on the
There is something that we're working on again along that front in terms of life and progression and RPG, but we'll go further on that when we're further along on that.
It's more of a partnership thing that we're collaborative effort, if you will, with our good friend JPV.
There you go.
But exciting stuff there. I can't wait for that to come to fruition, because then that again puts us in a whole new space, whole new light.
In a whole new light.
It's gonna be great.
Completely changes the game.
And I think it's all gonna play out just in time too, because outside of just the showcase thing, there are some new renovations we're making to the lounge as well, and everything's just gonna play into each other. I think by I feel like about 2 or 3 months from now, the lounge is gonna look a lot. I wouldn't say a lot different, but it's gonna look different, and it's gonna be great. Especially if we're like an official store by then and everything, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a new energy, I think, in the lounge.
A new energy, and it's gonna come in the more perfect time. We're almost at our year anniversary of opening the lounge, so
yeah,
it's like we had the first phase. You've been to the first phase. enjoyed everything about the first phase. Now it's time to move on to the next.
Yeah, I think maybe we should do a big event, celebrating our first year, kind of like a re-grand opening kind of thing.
Definitely.
Definitely. There's a lot of events on the horizon. It's gonna be fun. It's a good time to be a gamer in the VI. You got two guys that are gonna throw the whole community on our back and take it as far as we possibly can.
As far as we can.
Definitely jump on the bandwagon. Definitely show your support. And by support, it's not always financial. You can always, like I said, some of you that are looking at this on YouTube, a little comment here, like, subscribe, all that stuff makes a difference.
Helps the algorithm.
Speaking of that, our YouTube numbers are growing, so we're
appreciate you guys
for all that you do in that front. And share the podcast as well too. You never know who's gonna like it. You don't know. Obviously it's not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, but the gamers and the nerds like ourselves, I'm sure
there's something they can get from it.
There's something they can get behind as well. But yeah, like, subscribe, all that stuff. But yeah, what's
coming out this week?
This week, what do we got?
This week is kind of a slow week, but it's kind of a different week because you have the Death Stranding director's cut is coming out.
Okay.
So it's not a new game. But that's for PC. I think it maybe already be out for PlayStation, but now it's coming out for the PC, I guess. And other than that, there's one other interesting. I mean, there's some other games there. Weird West. Not too familiar with that, but it looks, it's a little cel shaded. It looks very interesting. It's kind of, it has that asymmetrical top down view.
Okay.
Cel shaded graphics. I'm not sure what type of game it is. If it's an adventure, it looks more like an adventure game as opposed to like multiplayer. It looks like it has some RPG elements to it. Definitely need to do a little more research before I start talking about it, because I don't know that much about it.
Looks cool though.
Looks cool. Looks very interesting. It may even be a roguelike. If it is, then it's definitely gonna get downloaded, because it looks pretty cool. But we're gonna look more on that. Probably get some more information on that for you guys. And then there's Midnight Ghost Hunt, which I'm not too familiar with, but I'm thinking it's that game that you told me about a while back.
Yes, that's the
It's like
kind of Ghostbusters-esque.
Yes, it's like I guess they're actually. I guess there's actually a name for that genre of game. It's hide and seek, I guess.
There you go.
Or essentially,
it's a lot like that. If you guys are familiar with that mod for Call of Duty, there's a hide and seek mod where you can disguise yourself as an item in the map, and the players have to find you. That game is a lot like that, but it's there's two teams. There's a ghost and there's hunters, and the ghost can be any item in the map, and they can kind of like you're possessing that item. You gotta hide, and the hunters have to try to find you. But if the clock strikes midnight and they don't find you, I think all the ghosts are like souped up, and now the ghosts are now the hunters, and the hunters gotta try to get out of there or something like that. Which is really cool. It's a interesting concept. You said it comes out this week?
So it's the beta.
The beta comes out this week.
The beta comes out this
week.
For
PC, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Which is...
Yeah, you can sign up for it on Steam. So that's pretty cool. But on the beta front, one other beta is coming out.
But before you get to that, because there's a game that's... Because when I first saw this game, Midnight Ghost Hunt, I was like, this would be a perfect, Ghostbusters game. And it turns out there is a Ghostbusters game that's coming out that's almost exactly like this. So I'm trying to think. I was wondering which one came first. But essentially, it's more or less the same thing. I don't know if it has the ghosts turning on you kind of a thing, but it is a hide and seek type game, and it is Ghostbusters, which is more your traditional Ghostbusters with the traps and the items and all of that.
But
and it has a lot of your old Ghostbusters cast as well. So
that's cool.
I think that's definitely worth checking out. I would definitely like to play both and compare. But I gotta check the release date for the Ghostbusters game. But both are both seem very similar, but both are very cool.
Yeah.
I like the idea of using hide and seek in that front, in that you're possessing. It's like you're possessing an item kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And when the hunters find you, you're seeing this item kind of float across the floor or interact. And I think you can set like traps even. I think some of the items are like those old knight armor kind of things. And they can
attack.
They can chop you and stuff like that. So it's cool.
And
it's gonna be cool to check out.
One other beta is coming out. Actually, this is like brand spanking new news. It came out last night actually. DNF Duel is releasing another beta on the 1st of April.
There you go.
That's also coming out this week. Wasn't in the update thing, but I definitely saw the trailer, and it is on the 1st of April. I wonder if it's an April Fool's joke.
I hope not.
I hope not. It is coming out on the 1st of April.
There's a lot of things happening on the 1st of April that
don't happen.
Usually don't happen. But this, I don't think it's.
I don't think it is.
Because I think that would, if that only be the case if it was on April Fool's and they actually did announce it then I'll be suspicious. But I think it's actually a real thing.
Yeah. So
which is exciting. Hopefully they got the all the critiques from the first.
Yeah. Hopefully they put a little training mode in there so people can But
test it out and go to the lab and work on your combos and all that good stuff.
Apparently they're adding more characters like the Ghost Blade, and other new characters that have been announced since that have not been in the first beta. So I definitely want to give it another shot this time around. There's a lot of people that I usually play fighting games with that are not excited about it. I think they're off the NF Duel bandwagon.
Which is unfortunate, but that's their own doing. But hopefully with this beta, they can undo their doing.
It's just such a beautiful game, though. It's just a lot of work went into making it look great.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see that kind of pay off, but we'll see.
Hopefully they can redeem themselves.
Hopefully they can. It's only a few days away, so we'll definitely let you guys know how that goes.
For sure.
On the next episode of podcast.
Yeah, we'll definitely check it out and bring back the news. In other news, there's Far Cry 5 is getting a kind of a cool little crossover event, which we didn't, we got a chance to play a little bit of Far Cry 5. Didn't really get too heavy into it, but this event it's kind of an interesting one. It's a crossover event with Stranger Things, which based on the trailer, it looked like they're doing it right. It's not just a random event. It actually has story elements to it, so you can kind of take in your character from Far Cry 5 and going to the Upside Down and fighting demigorgons and
interesting
all that cool stuff. It's actually very well done, based on how the look and you can see some of the story elements. It looks pretty cool. If you're a Stranger Things fan, this would definitely be right up your alley. And it almost makes me want to go back and check out Far Cry 5 some more.
Oh, I thought you were going to say watch
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
Which I should, because I know a lot of people hate me for this, but I fell off on season 3.
I fell off on season 2, sir.
Oh.
So there's a lot of Stranger Things to be watched.
A lot of Stranger Things to be watched. But
shame on us for being nerds and not watching Stranger Things.
Yeah, because it's a pretty good show. But yeah, this event, but again, this event is very well done, for Far Cry 5. So for those of you that have the game and definitely into Stranger Things, this crossover event is definitely right up your alley. There's a lot of like crossover type events that I think are pretty cool. Like you see a lot of and I think it's probably the next phase for gaming in general. Like I mean, of course, Fortnite is where we kind of really the pioneer. Well, I wouldn't say the pioneer, but more the leader in that space, where they got a lot of pop culture references, a lot of nerd culture references, that as far as characters and different events that they do. It's cool to see because it's even crossing going into even mobile games and different games you see I think it was Top. What's the name of that game? Top something. Where Transformers are in there now and the Top War.
Something, yeah. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, but there are Transformers in it now. And
you see a lot of those things. I think it's cool because like 10 years or so ago, video game characters were cool, but you only saw them in the video game space. Some of them tried to cross over to the big screen, and hit or miss. Some of them, try to cross over on the small screen and get in their own shows, and they'll also hit or miss. But now it's just, they're just crossing over with other
and I think
other mediums and other pop culture references.
It's definitely great for the game developers because like you could have a game that's somewhat popular, but you want to take your game to the next level. You apply to get some licensing for some characters, and then now all of a sudden you just open up your game to a whole new demographic, a whole new audience of people that maybe would not have played your game, but now like, hey, big Transformers fan, so I'm definitely gonna check that out. So you know what I mean. So it definitely opens up the opportunities for people that are smaller developers that maybe don't have the funds to do like a huge game, but they can get some pay for some licensing, and it's literally like advertising. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And even if you have
a smart way of advertising your game out there.
Yeah, and even if you have a game or whatever, and you have some likable characters, you can license those characters out to be in other character in other video games. Like,
it depends on how popular they are. Because if they're not popular, people are like, oh, it's just another character. Okay, it's not the same effect. But yeah, definitely. I mean, it's cool if we ever, do develop a game and it's actually any good. That's definitely something. That's definitely a route I would take.
Yeah, bring in some other more popular characters. People definitely check out your game. It's a good idea, actually. For my secret project that I'm not so actively working on right now, but we'll definitely get back to at some point as things progress. That could be another game changer for us as well too, to actually develop and create a game.
It's definitely.
There's a pin in it.
It's on our roadmap for sure.
We'll keep you posted on that. But where a lot of our efforts and gaming this week has gone, of course, has been with Elden Ring, which we touched on a couple podcasts back as far as when it dropped, what our initial thoughts were. But now getting to play it a little bit more, getting a little more hands-on with it.
Definitely need to revisit it. Yeah, revisit that conversation because a lot of thoughts have changed.
Yeah, I mean initially we weren't so big on the Souls games and that kind of thing, so we were more limited in as far as our
knowledge and our thought process, our
thoughts on the game. But now getting to play it, getting to experience it firsthand, it's quite the experience, huh?
That game literally took over a lot of my time in a way that I didn't thought it would. I didn't see it coming. But even now I'm kind of trying to wean myself off it a little bit, like, damn. It's because like initially when Elden Ring came out and seeing all the reviews and people were like, masterpiece this, masterpiece that, and I was like, throwing around that masterpiece kind of loosely there. But I get it now. I definitely get it now. It's truly a game that rewards exploration and stuff like that. It's a game that once it hooks you and once you understand everything about the game in terms of how it works and
the mechanics and
everything, you can get hooked, and you get hooked pretty bad.
The creative side of your brain kind of opens up and you're like, if I use this with this, I can create this effect.
It gets bad. Like I had the bug bad. Like on my day off, that's literally as I woke up, I was like, let's get in it. I played it until like all day. I had to stop to run some errands real quick, but after that was done, I went straight back on it. Played it all day, and it's like, damn, it was just so consuming.
Elden Ring it's great in that, like I said, it opens up the creative side of your brain. Cause there's so many different. It's like your character is kind of like a petri dish or a flask, if you will, and you're just adding ingredients to see what's actually possible,
What's possible?
what you can actually do,
What's viable?
and you know, you can say that about a lot of RPGs, which I get, but with Elden Ring, there's so many different nuances that goes into that. So many different things, so many different elements that can be tweaked, can be exploited, can be rearranged. That you can get some beautiful effects, and it's one of the things that makes the game, makes the replay value of the game, very viable. And
Extremely high.
You can while you're playing with one character and you're working on one build, you're seeing the possibilities, like endless possibilities for other builds and different things. So it's super addictive for real. Like
super addictive.
And speaking to it, the way I chose to play the game, which is probably one of the more difficult ways. Well, it seems that way. Maybe early game it's okay. It's viable early game, but as I'm playing the game, it's getting harder and harder.
And it's only gonna get worse.
It's only gonna get worse. And I'm playing all bows, so I shouldn't say all bows, but bows and mostly range attacks. So I am using throw knives with my bows, to kind of some of the kills, but majority bows. Every once in a while, I use my dagger, just if I'm getting swarmed by crowds. But yeah, mainly bows, which it has its pros on its cons. A lot of people because bows are meant to be used kind of as a secondary, kind of as uses your range attacks. But if you're gonna focus on bows, there's a lot of things that goes in your favor. For example, the stealth element to it, because bows are pretty quiet. Like you can kill enemies, and other enemies are right next to them, and they're unaware.
Yeah.
So you do have that stealth, thing going for you there. But once a crowd starts to, once a crowd's onto you,
it's tough.
It gets tough. But depending on how strong your bow is and how good you are at the game, you can you can work out some things. You can finagle your way to some slick kills, and you can kind of cheese some bosses as well too. So it does work out. So there are some pros and cons there, but definitely more cons than pros.
Yeah.
Because it's super tough.
It's definitely gonna be tough.
But it does make some bosses
easier. Yes, because there is a particular boss fight that was somewhat tough for me, but I see how it could be very easy for you. Not very easy because it's still a very tough fight.
Well, what's his name though? The first boss that some say arguably one of the harder bosses. Margit. I beat him the second time I tried. Almost effortlessly.
And it took me a few days to do that.
Yeah, I beat him pretty handily. But I did have a hard time on Godric. Godric was tough, but I got through him as well.
You beat Godric?
Poisoned his ass.
There you go. I didn't beat Godric.
Yeah, I did.
Good on you. There's another fight.
Had my scaly man and some poison arrows. And
there is another fight that you should do next. You probably, it should not be open up for you at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's another story boss. I forgot his name. Rodan. I don't know if you've ever seen any videos online. You see with that big red hair.
Mm-hmm.
That boss. Where you get that mask.
Armor?
Well, you don't actually. That's not how you get that armor, but that's his mask.
Cool.
Very fun boss fight. Very exciting boss fight, and for your character, it's gonna be even better.
Cool. I look forward to it.
Mm-hmm. You're definitely gonna take him down pretty easy. But I say that to say you need to do that boss fight so that you can get your an additional talisman pouch. Just to help you progress a little bit better.
There you go.
And I know for some of you that probably hearing all this stuff is, that's very early game. That's
Yeah, I am pretty early in the game.
We are.
Well, you're a lot further.
I'm a lot further, but I cheese my way to how far I am, and I'm like, it's
gonna catch up with you.
It already has caught up to me.
There you go. I don't get to play as much
because there's certain boss fights that feels literally impossible for my character. Because I'm doing what everybody's doing, the samurai route, But I try to do things differently with my samurai just to be a little different. But that difference is just making it harder for me, and it's reaching the point where I'm wondering how worth it is it really. So I'm trying to find different ways to enjoy my samurai, different ways to build my samurai. That's pretty much what I'm doing, but it's difficult.
Yep.
It's very difficult, and some bosses just feel like,
Yeah.
I guess it's the end of the road for me in this game. But
When I fight certain bosses with just my bow, it's like, oh, this guy gives me no space. All right, no. That's it.
yeah, like there's
That's where summons come in. So
yes, someone's changed the game, but like I would have preferred not to use any summons, but it's literally impossible. Certain boss fights, like there's one that's on horseback. Like, okay, remember the guy in the beginning of the game on horseback?
yeah,
There's gonna be a part of the game where you have to fight two of those.
fun. Horseback. Those fights are pretty difficult for me, but
For
depending
me
on the
as well.
terrain, I can work my way around.
For
it.
me as well. So, and then there's an upgraded version of that you have to fight again after that. Both those fights, I was like, I guess this is it for me. But literally, I found the cheapest way to beat them. I'm not gonna disclose it because it literally is like, it makes the fight
Easy.
easy enough to like a level 1 person can do it.
There you go.
It's a really bad exploit, but it works, and I've done it now. Not really gonna go over it on the air 'cause I don't want to spoil the
anyone.
game for anybody, but that's literally how I had to do it. But now, because I did it that way, everything past that point is just
Super difficult.
very difficult.
Yeah, that's what I like about the game too. It's like you just gotta find they just put you in these tough situations, and you just gotta find your way to how you're gonna get it done.
Yep.
The game is like problem solving. It's like a problem solving course, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Where you have your element, you can add different elements to the thing, but you're just trying to solve problems, which is good for life.
It's
When you're in the management or the owners, when you're wearing those hats and you gotta out fires for your business or your project or whatever you're working on, it's literally just that. It's problem solving.
mm-hmm.
That's where gaming comes in. It's a training course for life right there.
Yep.
But
it's
it's a great experience all the way around, I must say.
Yeah, I mean, definitely wasn't big on the Souls games, but maybe moving forward they may have another fan.
There you go. Especially if they're anything like Elden Ring, definitely have another 2 fans.
Yeah, it's a great experience. It's definitely an experience as a gamer that all gamers should at least dip their toe in it. Cause I definitely don't think it's everybody's cup of tea either.
No.
Because there's no difficulty setting.
Yeah, it's just tough, and you just gotta figure it out, which I can appreciate.
Definitely can appreciate it.
So yeah, that's Elden Ring. Our thoughts, moving forward. I'm looking forward to beating the game. Actually, hopefully, can cheese my way with bows to the end. That'll be great. That'll be quite the feat and accomplishment. But yeah. Move right along. This week, there's also a new event for Apex, which is the Warriors event,
Mm-hmm.
which looks really cool. They're doing a couple of things there. They're bringing back the Control game mode, which is limited time game mode, which they're still calling it a limited time game mode. But I can foresee that being a regular thing, which I said the first time they did it.
Mm-hmm.
And now that they're bringing it back so soon, it's like, okay, well, just keep it around. Hopefully they make some tweaks to it, 'cause there were some tweaks need to be made. We'll see if any changes made, but I think it is going to be on a new map. So there is that. There's also a new Arenas map,
Mm-hmm.
which looks very cool. Arenas is the main way I play Apex now. So just getting to do that in a new space, always fun. I do need to get back to BRs though. Which, ironically enough, I had a dream about last night. About me playing BR's Apex.
There you go.
Just
Calling
alert.
you.
It's calling me. But there's also a ton of new skins and weapon skins that's dropping as well. Which a lot of these skins are visually some of the better skins they put out in a long time, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's like a gladiator skin for like Caustic. There's a really cool color for, well, not just color, but a cool skin for Ashe as well. And Valkyrie, skin with a new kind of a hairdo kind of a thing going. There's a lot of cool content to be had there.
Yeah, Apex definitely still doing their thing, man. They're still
Mm-hmm.
bringing out viable content.
Yeah, content being good, and actually they've been putting out. Well, someone did anyway. Dropped a bunch of leaks.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a ton of leaks, which we've been kind of covering here
Yep.
on our YouTube channel. We've been dropping some shorts on those, which is there's a ton more to be had. So if you want to keep up with all the Apex Legends leaks and news, you can definitely follow us on our YouTube, because as I see them, I'm gonna start. I'm putting them out. So there's a lot of things to be had there, like some new characters, new heirlooms. Which, speaking of heirlooms, Crypto is getting his heirloom.
Finally, yep.
Finally getting his heirloom with this warrior event as well,
Yep.
which I've been waiting for a long time now. I heard about it months ago. Finally got a chance to see some early images and videos of it in action a couple weeks ago, and now it's finally here. Crypto being one of my mains. I main Wraith and Crypto, so I have the Wraith heirloom already. Good thing I haven't bought any other heirlooms. Well, I don't have the shards to anyway.
There you go.
But I think it's gonna play out so that I am gonna get my shards just in time for Crypto's heirloom, hopefully. Because I'm not one of the guys that just buys it outright. It's like
It's expensive.
it's expensive, and two, it kind of takes it takes away the fun from opening packs. Because
Definitely.
the main reason I open packs now is
Hopefully.
fingers
yeah.
crossed heirloom shards. So
Me as well. I still haven't gotten my first heirloom because I don't.
well, you got to play the game, sir.
That's how you get them, right?
That's how you get 'em.
Yeah, you mentioned. Yeah. Actually, we're probably gonna play some tonight. More than likely.
I'm gonna play some today
Mm.
during the day at some point.
There you go.
But 'cause I think this event is gonna go live tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
So
Maybe I'll play tomorrow.
definitely worth checking out for some of you guys who are still on the Apex, or if you're not, jump back in. There's some new content to be had there.
Still more Elden Ring to play. So.
There's that. But also some of the other Apex Legends leaks, like I mentioned before, like that you can see on our YouTube channel. There's a ton of new characters that got leaked.
Mm-hmm.
Not just one, but a few. The main one that's probably the most done, that's probably going to be your Season 13 character, is Newcastle,
Mm-hmm.
which he's very, it's like a black Robocop, if you want to go for a look, what he looks like. Pretty interesting character, though. Got a chance to see his entire moveset, and how he works. Well, not everything, because there's still one thing that I read but haven't seen any video on it, which is how his passive works. It's something to do with how he revives people. I think he can
You can revive.
well everyone can,
revive, yeah.
but I think he can they carry you or something like that.
Mm.
Not sure how that works, but based on what I think he can drag characters to, I guess, safety. Depending on how it works, 'cause you can move when you're down, so I don't know how much quicker
Yeah.
you'll be able to do it, but maybe it's gonna be quicker, and it'll be a cool thing. As someone goes down, he grabs them, pulls them to safety, lifeline reses them. Could be a new meta. His tactical is pretty cool. It's like a shield that comes up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you team him up with a lifeline, that's definitely the way to go. Because you remember when Lifeline had that res where she she had a shield.
Yep. It's pretty much that.
You can now do that now, but it just takes two characters to do. But
Mm.
you can definitely do that now, which is super dope. It's a shield that he throws down that kind of comes up. But unlike Gibby, well, Gibby's a bubble shield, but his, you can kind of move, depending on which direction you're facing, you can kind of move the shield.
I'm surprised we don't really do that with Gibby. Like, just Gibby and Lifeline. That's just like a perfect combo.
Yeah.
But then it kind of doesn't make sense because then I'll team up with both of them and have either Newcastle and Gibby like tank the fight, and if they go down, if Gibby goes down and Newcastle comes, puts the shield up, Lifeline reses. If Newcastle goes down, Gibby comes, put the bubble shield, Lifeline reses.
Could be a good meta.
Nice little meta. If you're always going down.
Yeah. And his ult is pretty cool too as well. Very different from anything you've seen. He pretty much jumps to a location and throws up a castle pretty much. Yeah.
What?
he jumps to a location and these barriers come up in the form of a castle. They're kind of like ramparts walls, but they're a lot tougher. They got way more life. So, which is kind of cool because like again, if someone's down, he can literally just jump on them and throw up a castle, and they're like gives them enough protection so you can res them.
What in the Fortnite?
Pretty much, very very reminiscent of Fortnite. But yeah, like it looks very interesting, and you can see a video of it again on our YouTube channel. But he jumps, and then boom, this castle just goes up, builds up, and it's tough to knock down.
Interesting.
But now I think it only gives you like 180 degrees of protection, so there is that. But you know, he can do that, which gives Gibby enough time to throw the bubble shield, and then you're completely protected in this fort. Pretty dope looking character. And then there's another character called Vantage, I think her name is, or her code name is. It may not be her name when she releases, but it's like a sniper character, which is kind of cool. She's gonna be, I guess, like your kind of a recon character, where she has like a bird, which is like another drone, kind of like Crypto. But it's interesting because she's gonna kind of play like Crypto, but probably a little bit better. Now I don't know if she's gonna give you like all the information like a Crypto drone would give you, but she can throw her bird out, and she can kind of control it. Tell it to go like different locations, without being in it. So you can't go in it and control it, but you can throw it out and you can control it from the player.
Why wouldn't they just make that
Crypto, but
a Crypto rework?
oh, there's that. But also she can, like wherever her drone is, she can go to her drone, kind of like a Loba bracelet, if you will.
Interesting.
So she can put her bird in a location and then just go to it. Which is interesting. Interesting character build, but her ult is she gets like a sniper.
Her ult is a weapon ult?
I think so. She gets like a sniper, and when she shoots someone or when she's ADSing on that person, it gives you like a lot of information as far as like, you know, how much life they have, you know, whatever. And of course it's a weapon also. It does. It's not as good as a Kraber, but I think it's like a leveled down Kraber kind of a thing, where it does good damage, but it's not quite Kraber. Seems like a cool character, you know.
To me, it shouldn't have been a weapon. It should have just been a view, like maybe some gun.
I think her passive, she does have that kind of a view from the bird, if I'm not mistaken, or something. I gotta look more into how it was, but because when I saw the video, it didn't have any sound, so I didn't get an explanation as far as how things work. But there is some information there, and there's some other characters too that I saw. They didn't really have skins or anything yet, but they were just kind of showing their abilities, if you will. I was thinking about throwing that up, but you know they don't really have skins, so it's like I'll maybe wait till it's more fleshed out if it ever get leaks like that again. But yeah, a ton of Apex Legends leaks as far as characters and some new weapons as well. Not all of them had skins either. They were using like existing weapons to kind of show to show how these weapons would work. But there's apparently some akimbo pistols coming. They're like energy pistols. That's gonna be kind of cool.
Interesting.
There's somewhat of an energy assault rifle as well that's maybe coming, and a new LMG as well. But yeah, there's a ton of weapon leaks. Well, Apex leaks across the board. There's character skins and all that stuff. So yeah, all the relevant ones that are decent, and worth talking about, you'll definitely see on our channel. So definitely look forward to that. Keep your eyes out for that. It's gonna be great. Outside of that, there is some news on the PlayStation front. Very quickly, apparently the PlayStation's version of Game Pass, if you will, is definitely on the horizon.
Yeah, it's dropping soon.
There's some news out on that, saying that it's gonna be a tiered thing, where you're gonna have your I think it's 3 tiers, and the first tier is gonna be what PlayStation
Plus to be.
Kind of the second tier is gonna be your PlayStation Plus and your PlayStation Now kind of a thing, and your third tier is gonna be like the actual Game Pass, where you get your free content.
They're just making it more confusing than it needs to be.
It is what it is, but I'm sure they're doing it because it's probably gonna be inexpensive. It's probably gonna be I don't foresee it being
$15.
$15. I think with the bigger tier, with everything that you're gonna get, I think, and because it is PlayStation, I think it is gonna be more than $15 for that last tier. But I do foresee a lot of people doing it. Like, we're gonna do it here at the lounge because it's gonna be better for us.
A lot better for us.
But yeah, it's gonna be cool, I guess. It's kind of it seems very experimental, and for Sony it is because it's a new space for them, and with them having what they have with their exclusives and everything, people paying outright for games. That's kind of their formula, and that's how they make their money. So for them to completely go away with that, I get it. In business, you don't want to just make that leap because your competitor is doing it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you got to follow the trends and seeing what's going on and respond to those trends.
And again, it's not quite like Game Pass. Like it's Game Pass is definitely the premier when it comes to that. Because from what I understand, they're not doing a lot of day ones. They're not doing
games coming. They're not doing the day one thing like Xbox does, where you're getting AAA titles day one on Xbox. They're not doing that, but they are giving you a library of free games.
I think they're missing the ball. I think they don't get it. It's like it's exactly what it is. Like, they're trying to understand it and they're just trying to dip their foot in it, but it's not something that can be done half-ass. Because what's going to end up happening is people are going to be like, "Oh yeah, I want to play that game. Oh, but it's not on PlayStation Pass or whatever it's going to be called." I'm like, okay, I'll just wait. And then now you're going to have these games that are very that would have good releases, but now it's kind of a janky release because you're going to have some people that are diehards that are going to buy it outright day one, and then you're going to have another set of people that are just going to wait till it gets on the pass, and that whole time the metric is going to be kind of weird because you're going to have the numbers maybe not reflecting
what it could have been, and the excitement of the game might die down and all that. Exactly.
So it's and then the player base could be low initially. That turns off the initial base, and then now you have the PlayStation Pass base. Like, when it gets there, then like, okay, now they're jumping on it, but the initial guys already kind of maybe stop playing, and there's like. But and then now you're hurting those people. It's like, well, why am I buying it, spending money?
If you're gonna release it later,
if you're gonna release it later on the pass anyway. So
we're gonna see how it goes. I mean, it's gonna.
I mean, it's always gonna be better. It's growth. It's movement in the right direction, and we're definitely gonna take advantage of it. But it could hurt it. The consumer is not the one that's going to lose on this. The consumers don't lose on this. I don't think.
Unless you buy the game outright. Well, you're not losing, but it is.
Yeah, I feel like the publishers are gonna. It's not as streamlined as how Xbox does. It's just, hey, it is what it is. Boom, boom, boom. And yes, games do get released later, but it's not the exclusive ones. The only reason games get released later is because I'm sure it's like deals got to be worked out, and publishers are trying to make as much money, but the more publishers just get on the bandwagon of, hey, put your game on the pass, you get your player base up, you're gonna get everything up, the excitement up.
But I mean, with the popularity of a lot of PlayStation exclusives, I can kind of get why they're not doing it, because they feel like, well, these games are so popular, people are gonna buy them anyway. Like, for example, God of War Ragnarok, people are gonna buy that anyway. So they're not going to throw that on the pass because they're throwing away money, or at least they feel like they're throwing away money. But again, it's a catch-22 because they can use that same popularity of that game to build their subscriber base. So, and like Spider-Man and those games, the Wolverine game,
one way you can play those games if you're on the pass, and all of a sudden the pass is going to blow up. Simple as that.
And that's everyday money now, We'll see. We'll see what they do. We'll see how it plays out. But It's gonna be good all the way around. So can't wait to see it. All right, with that, we will roll straight into fight talk. This last weekend's fights were decent. They weren't as exciting as the London card, but they did have their, interesting nuances to this one. This card we saw, grapplers become strikers, and we saw some strikers become grapplers, and it was quite interesting. I'm gonna roll through this past week's card pretty quickly to then roll into, of course, this weekend's pay-per-view that's coming up. Actually, no, it's not this weekend. We are getting a little lull, I think. Yeah, it's going to be on the 9th.
Mm-hmm. So we got a week out.
We got a week of no fights, which is fine. We'll cover some other MMA news because there's stuff there. But, yeah. So this weekend, we had...
Manon Fiorot defeated Jennifer Maya, which no surprise there.
Yeah, it was a good back and forth fight.
Surprisingly, Maya did better than I thought she would.
Yeah, she landed a head kick even. Her striking is definitely getting better. But Fiorot was just tough enough to, and she has those throws, man. Those throws are something that it's hard to train for. Because as soon as you get your hands on her and you think you're grappling her and you're overpowering her, she just throws up a hip throw and you're on your back now. Her grappling is pretty solid, not just from the throw standpoint, but from her defensive, like her sweeps and stuff. Very solid.
And throws take a lot out of you. People don't realize those will sap your gas tank like you can't believe.
Not only sap your gas, but you can get hurt. Like things get hurt once you get thrown to the mat, like that. You can tough it out with adrenaline and all that, but once you're getting thrown around, you're gonna feel beat up.
It's gonna wear on you.
Yeah. It's like getting hit with the floor. But good on her. Fiorot's definitely working her way up. She's 9-1 now. She's definitely going to be a contender in that division for sure. Tough to beat. I mean, seeing her and Valentina, I think that's going to be an excellent fight.
Very interesting fight.
We'll get there eventually, but she's not quite there yet. So, what else we had that were interesting? A couple of
Sarah McMahon, did what Sarah McMahon does.
Yeah, Sarah McMahon was against Kyle Rosa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, McMahon squeaked out a decision. Good on her for that. That was the main fight for the prelims, and then on your main card, we had some interesting ones. For example, Mark DeCasey, who is generally a striker, like I mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
He's usually the guy that, known for striking, very sharp, very clean, very flashy striking. Didn't show much of that in this fight.
Turned into a grapple fest.
Turned into a grappler, and, he's lost a couple fights from grappling, getting out-grappled, and I think that he just took that to heart and worked on only his grappling during these COVID times. Because now he looks like a world-class grappler.
He does.
His grappling was the best I've ever seen. Him, and never mind in that division, it looked very sharp, very good. He was throwing, what's this guy's name?
Barshev,
who looks a lot like, Martin Kampman.
He looks a lot like Martin Kampman. Somebody told me that was Martin Kampman, just grew out a beard, changed his name. I'd believe it.
Yeah. But yeah, he just pretty much ragdolled him for the entire fight, which, Barshev is actually a Russian, which are known for his grappling. So for him to out-grapple him, it's like, show the level he's on. And he's saying, like, a lot of people, are not looking at him like a contender anymore, but he did this to remind them that, yeah, he definitely is a contender. And with the grappling like that and the way he striked, his previous work, he can definitely be a contender in that division. That's a lightweight division. He's now 15-5 now, so keep your eye on DeCasey for sure. And I think he was the first openly gay fighter. Do I remember that correctly?
I don't know if it was the first, because I think...
Oh, no, yeah. Amanda was, I think.
Yeah.
Or male.
What's her name? Yeah. Maybe the first male.
Yeah. I know there's something along those lines, but... he's no slouch.
It's a gay guy that can grapple like that is a scary thing.
Very scary. But, then we had the fight with Neil Magne versus Max Griffin.
which was a nice back and forth banger.
Back and forth banger, and Max Griffin is no slouch. I mean,
no slouch at all.
Honestly, I thought he was gonna win this fight, even though I love Neil Magne, but
I thought so
Neil
too.
Magne has been kind of
Up and down, but he's definitely still a tough out for anybody.
And
he won by split decision this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then he called out Hamzat,
Which he has been doing for a while.
Yes, because they've been scheduled to fight, but then things fell off. And
Change it
whatnot.
out, yeah.
So it's like he's the only one that's calling out Hamzat. Nobody wants to fight Hamzat.
Yep. And he said, that's the fight he wants, which is super interesting because Hamzat's actually got, skyrocketed past him to fight.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Fight Burns next, which is coming up the next February, isn't it?
It just might be. I think it is, actually. Let me just check that real quick.
I might just be thrown out.
No, yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's coming up next pay-per-view.
Yes, it is. Huh, I'm not throwing out bullshit. I actually know what I'm talking about here.
So that's going to be fun to see, fun to watch.
Can't wait for a week from now.
Well, we'll get to that when it comes. But
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I mean, if I guess that's Magne's way of getting back to the top, because, he's kind of past him. But, if he beats Burns, Hamzat, that is, because both fights are so close by, it could be his next fight.
Could be.
It doesn't do anything for him.
But he's a guy that fights anybody. So
He's a guy that fights anybody. And, the same way, people took your fights to help you get up, it's not a bad idea to take,
So fights help somebody else get up.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. We'll see what they do with that. But good on him for calling out Chimaev. And then
Askarov versus Kai France.
Great fight.
Great fight. Probably fight of the night, maybe.
Could very well be. Askarov, of course, known for his grappling. Being a Dagestani grappler, he was just doing work. The first round, I would say, to Kai France. Kai France survived it. He had Askarov on his back for a majority of that first round, and he actually survived. And it came pretty close.
You mean Kai France?
Yeah, Askarov was on Kai France's back.
Yeah.
For majority of the first round, and he survived a lot of it. There's sometimes where it looked like he was in some danger. He survived. He got out the first round, then he just went to work, huh?
He just, it was an exciting fight because Kai France was actually playing up to the crowd a lot in this fight, more than I've ever seen him done.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up, getting the unanimous decision on that one.
Yeah, he definitely worked him for the last 2 rounds for sure, landing a lot of strikes. But Askarov didn't just take him. He was throwing back.
It was
kind of back and forth, but Kai France did his thing, and he's kind of been a contender too now as well. So it looks like he's
been a contender. I think he probably had a loss something that kind of offset that, and now
he's back for sure.
And Askarov was previously undefeated. His first loss.
There we go.
A loss in this fashion, in my opinion, is not really a loss in a sense. It's like
it's a good fight. Anyone could win, but
it's just like it's more like a sidestep. It's like you don't go down. I still look at Askarov as a top contender. It's just like I don't think he lose anything from his
for this loss for sure. Then we had another barn burner with Matt Brown and Brian Barbereno.
And the reason I didn't say this one was a fight of the night because this one was more hard fight.
It was very gutsy performance by both guys. It was tough, and I think Matt Brown could have won it, but he gave up the third round.
Not even the third round. The last
few
seconds of the third round.
Yeah, Barbereno just kind of poured on, and it's the end of the fight. Brown kind of took it off a little bit. I mean, he didn't, but because it was again, it was top to bottom. The fight was just gutsy performance by both men. Just
they both left it all in there, and I think at the very very end, Barberena just decided,
I'm gonna empty the gas tank.
Right now, and he did, and
it won him the fight.
It won him the split decision. Because that was another split decision. Could have easily gone anyway, but those last few seconds is what definitely sealed the deal.
What made the difference? Yeah.
If Brown had an experience like that in the last, he would have won
for sure,
easily.
And then Joanne Wood versus Alexa Grasso, which 2 female fighters that I'm huge fans of in the flyweight division. Went out. Unfortunately, Joanne went out pretty early in the first round.
Pretty early. She's
kind of on a skid.
her stock is dropping
a lot, unfortunately, and I hate to see it because she was actually saying, like, she's gonna try to make another title run using this fight, to get her, where she needs to get to. But she lost this one, man, and I think that's a few now in a row. It's kind of tough. She's just not as sharp as she used to be, unfortunately.
She's not.
And the game is kind of evolving past her. And Alexa Gracia was one of those young and up-and-coming fighters. She's very skilled now. She's always been skilled with her striking. She has good kicks and everything, but now she's showing that she can grapple. Her grappling game is pretty strong. She gets to the ground. She went straight for that rear naked choke, and she got it. So, I like both girls. It sucks to see Joanne lose like that, but I'm happy for Alexa Grasso as well. So we'll see what's next for her, but she's definitely working her way up for sure. And then we had Curtis Blaze versus Chris Dakas, where Curtis, again, known for his grappling. Didn't do any grappling this fight. And you could tell that Dakas was waiting for it. He was looking for it.
And it never came.
But
what did come
was some hands. Curtis was throwing hands the entire fight. And his boxing looks a lot better.
It does.
He was working behind a jab. He
had a really good
throwing
jab.
Feints. He was, doing setups. And even in his post-fight interview, he was saying, he used the first round just to kind of feel out, Dakas, see what he had, to make reads. And then he said in the third round is when he knew he could. In the second round, he knew when he could put him away.
And he did in 17 seconds in the second round.
Yeah, he saw what he needed to see, and he got it done, which is a scary thing. If Curtis Blades can keep up this level of striking with the level of grappling that he has, he's gonna be a
tough out for anybody.
Yeah, he's a full mixed martial artist now.
And he called out Gunn.
Yeah, which is the way to go. They were throwing out the Stipe fight as well too.
I think, I don't know, which was where Daniel Cormier has kind of throw that. I guess he maybe trying to throw Stipe a bone. Because
they were in Ohio, so
they were in Ohio, and I mean they like he called out Gunn already, and then Cormier is like, well, there's another heavyweight in the crowd, blah blah blah. Just to kind of I guess throw Stipe a bone, but Stipe wasn't even.
It looked like he was trying to work his way to the cage, but he never made it.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean either one of those fights I think worked for Curtis Blades.
And Blades didn't even.
Yeah, he didn't
even talk shit about Stipe.
He said that they trained before in the past.
He respects him.
He may have to beat him to get a title, but and he will do it. So it was very respectful when they mentioned that. But you can see that he wants to fight Gunn because he sees there's something there. Which honestly, him against Gunn, I think he beats Gunn. If he fights like this,
Gunn's a little passive.
Gunn's more of a counter striker. But with Curtis, with that level of boxing, even if he's getting lit up on the feet, he can always take it down and do work there. So
Gunn's a good grappler too, but it's strange because Gunn is a good grappler, and he does have size on Curtis.
Yeah, Gunn's more of a jiu-jitsu player than more of like a wrestling, I would say. So it's gonna be fun. Though any of those fights, I think, work for me. It's gonna be interesting to see.
But people forget that Gunn is kind of still relatively new when it comes to MMA. You know what I mean? He's had a lot of success, but
he's pretty green.
He has a long way to go still. He can,
and if he continues to fight the way he's fighting, and he gets better and gets improved, he'll definitely be a tough out for anybody as well. So look forward to that. I guess we can we'll cover some MMA news because I guess since the card's not coming up this week, there's a ton of MMA news to be had here. First off, on the not so good side, there's been a couple arrests in the MMA world. The main one being, of course, Jorge Masvidal.
Yep.
Apparently, allegedly, because he's saying he's proving, he pleaded not guilty, which is interesting. Allegedly, Jorge Masvidal
and Kobe Covington
got into an altercation where the way the story plays out, there's a lot of rumors going around with this one, which makes it very interesting. Is that Kobe was hanging out with I forget what they call the something boys, whatever. Those guys, the
Oh, the racist group.
The Meek Boys.
Oh.
Not the racist group. The
That's what I want the problem.
the guys that hang out with. I think they have some kind of promotion with UFC. Or sponsoring a fighter.
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
Those guys. I keep forgetting their names. It's a something boys.
Mm-hmm.
Something.
It's not the IsaacBoyz. Right?
Of course not. But yeah, he was hanging out with those guys, and apparently one of them leaked his location to Jorge's people. Is a word on the street. And Jorge showed up in a ski mask, some gloves, and sucker punched Kobe Covington. Hit him twice. Pop, pop. One in the eye and one in the mouth.
Yeah, I heard he cracked his tooth.
One in the mouth, cracked his tooth, people are saying. And there's a bit of a scuffle. Apparently, he damaged his watch. Kobe's Rolex got $15,000 worth of damage on it. Apparently it's a $90,000 Rolex. Got $15,000 worth of damage on it. And yeah, Kobe Covington pressed charges.
Yep.
So now, Masvidal is, I think, he may still be there. Maybe got out already, but got arrested, doing some time.
Very
had his first hearing, of course, and he pleaded not guilty, which I found very strange. Because right after the altercation happened, he went straight to social media.
Yep.
And kind of outed himself.
Yep.
So why would you plead not guilty? I don't know. I guess there's no evidence per se, but witnesses say, the person had long curly hair, and they did hear him speak, so there is that. But yeah, quite the interesting ordeal, and according to people, they're saying that Kofi Covington is not doing good since this.
That's what I heard too, but I mean, I don't.
But they're not saying what it is though,
Mm-hmm.
so it's kind of strange. Did one of those shots really mess him up? Is he like scared for his life? Is he,
Is he dealing with mental issues after this?
Yeah, is he like, did he think maybe like, him and Jorge was good and they were just playing it up to the camera and now he realizes it's not good, so he's butthurt about it? I don't quite know what it is, but apparently they're saying that Kobe's not good. He's even like, he had some events to do and he's canceling all of them.
He canceled all his events, yeah.
So, I don't know what's going on there. I'm sure there's going to be more news come out about that.
It's interesting because there is some that thought the whole beef between them was fabricated.
Mm-hmm.
Me being one of them. And now this shows that maybe not so much.
Not so much. Talk about a man, kid, and his wife and all that. Especially a guy like Jorge Masvidal. He's not one of those guys that takes those things lightly.
Probably neither is Will Smith, but
yeah, apparently Will Smith either. That's a whole other thing. And yeah, and then of course, I guess, man would not be outdid. Conor McGregor got arrested shortly after.
I didn't hear this.
Yeah, Conor got arrested shortly after for reckless driving. Apparently, apparently he was don't know what he was doing. The details never really came out. Maybe he was. Yeah, I mean he had to been doing something crazy to get arrested for reckless driving.
Yeah.
Must have been doing donuts in the street or something. Who knows? But apparently, Conor got arrested and got his Bentley impounded.
Ooh.
Temporarily impounded because I think he got out and got it out shortly after. But yeah, would not be outdone. Had to get arrested too, which.
These are two of the top paid UFC guys too.
Two of the top paid UFC guys. So I'm sure
this is why they don't want to give them. This is why Deion doesn't like
making these kind of people rich. This is what you get.
This is what you get. Put money in these people's hands that never had it and have this ego. This is what you get. You create monsters. You create menace to societies. It's not good. It's not good for the sport. It definitely isn't.
It's 100% not good for the sport.
Because if you look at all the top paid UFC guys. Not all.
John Jones being one.
You got John Jones. You got
Conor McGregor.
Conor now Masvidal. It's only a matter of time before you hear something happen with Izzy. You know what I mean?
That's what. So funny you say that. One of Izzy's fans did a video for him and told him he's the only one that not doing something, so he got to get on it. He got to do some criminal activity. And Izzy was kind of playing into it. So asking people what do you think, what do they think his first crime is gonna be or whatever. It's kind of funny. He's the only one that's not.
It's funny until it's not. It's funny until it's not.
There you go.
It's just it's tough. It's people always want fighter pay this, fighter pay that, but Dana White knows exactly what he's doing. The writing's on the wall. You know what I mean? They're always gonna be more reluctant now, more so than ever, because it just creates a bad look for the sport, because all MMA guys, they're reckless and everything. Now they have all these egos, and you put money in their hands, it gives them power, and it just creates bad members of society, not non-contributing, reckless.
And you don't want MMA to be painted in that light, because there are, with this few exceptions, there are some people that do great good with the money they have in MMA.
Habib has done a lot of good.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? Poirier, of course, GSP.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of guys, and it doesn't help that King got arrested too either.
Who?
Cain Velasquez got arrested.
Cain Velasquez,
a month before,
who was a UFC champion, got arrested. His situation is messed up, and it just keeps getting worse.
Yeah,
it's messed up. But yeah, it's just this. These are UFC champions. Not a good look for the sport.
It's not. Hopefully, things are figured out, but there's not much you can do about it, And then I'd say, these guys are independent contractors, so do what they want, but they do represent your brand, so I don't know what steps you can take, but it just is what it is. In other MMA news, ONE FC did have an event on Friday. Forgot to cover that.
Yes.
This is where Demetrius Johnson did.
He beat Rodtang.
Which any major MMA anybody that knows MMA knew that it was gonna if he could have got out of the first round, it was definitely over in the second round. Once he can survive the onslaught from Rodtang, Rodtang doesn't do MMA. He doesn't do grappling, so
no.
It was already over once he got out of that first round, and rightfully so. Even Brendan Schaub said it before, he sees us finishing the second round.
It was such a weird
mixed rules fight.
Yeah, so
because the first round, of course, was just kickboxing, Muay Thai, and the first round was Muay Thai, second round MMA, third round Muay Thai, fourth round MMA. Very weird, but that's the way they did it, and obviously they did it because they're trying to give Rodtang the benefit of the doubt, try to get him best shot, fighting shot. But Demetrius Johnson is no joke. He's one of the best to ever do it. So
people forget about him. He's still there,
still the man, and
still doing it,
still winning. So there was that. What's his name? Also fought Sexyama, fought and won as well.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he fought in that card. He won. I forgot who he fought. He fought a notable person too, but I forgot who. And then Maria Lee won her belt as well for that event. So good things there all the way around. And I think that just about does it for the MMA news. So we'll end it there. But we do have, of course, an exciting card coming up next week, which next week the following week, we'll cover it next week. That's going to be a good one, like we said.
Yep.
A lot of scores are going to be settled in that one, and I can't wait to see it. So with that, you guys continue to show your support to the VIVN IBPC bandwagon. This thing will continue to roll and continue to get better and better. Feel free to leave your comments in the comment section if you're watching on YouTube. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. We do appreciate it. If you want to become a supporter, join our Patreon. The link is right there. Also, hit us up on our IG. You can get our link tree there. All our links to our Patreon, our direct podcast supporter link, and all that good stuff. So with that, you guys continue to be good to each other. Stay safe out there. IsaacBoyz out.